I see the same exact thing to Niger. And not, I don't want to talk about Niger coup, but I want to talk about Niger as a country. You guys, you know a lot of details, have been listening a lot of details that are happening in that country. And Niger itself, holding on to Niger, this war that is happening, or this tension that is happening right now to Niger is not just against Niger, but against the continent of Africa. This is the journey to one Africa. But one of the things that I'm going to talk a lot, and I want us to dive into this, and I don't want to talk about this alone. So I'll give you a chance, guys, later as well to come and to share as well your opinion and to share your thoughts as well and the solutions. But one thing that I want us to cover is this. As you see the title of this video today, this is what it says. This is a war against Africa. I want you guys to remember that this is what we are going to talk about the entire session of today. That we're going to emphasize on why this issue is very important, not only for Niger, not only for Africans or outside, or not only for people who have some historical background with Niger, or people who are living close to Niger, but why this Niger issue is very important to all of us, to the entire continent of Africa. And I'm gonna start sharing with you guys some news that I have. All right, these are news. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I'm gonna share with you. These are some of the news that you guys can find out on official Swahili Nation Instagram page, Swahili Nation Twitter page, and Swahili Nation Facebook page as well. I'll show you guys here on the screen to see this news. You know, so the target is us addressing today that this is not only a Niger war, but it's an African war. And I'll give you meat to why I'm saying this, why I'm addressing this, why I'm sharing this with you, and why you as an African, I know all of Africans, we have issues, we have troubles. You guys in your country, you have issues, all right? I have issues in my country. Some of you're telling me that you should not speak about our country, speak about your country, you have your own issues. Yes, I understand. We have issues too. But you know, when it comes to Africa, we always have to pick. We have to focus on priorities. And what I mean is this. I don't mean that your country is not priority. My country is not priority. But what I mean is the situation that is happening in Africa right now, there are very sensitive issues that when you look at it, it's absolutely and very clear that it's a target against the Africa. All right. Not against anything else, but it's a target against Africanism. And yes, I understand there's issue happening in Sudan. There's issue happening in Ethiopia. I've been covering for the past week. There's issue happening in Congo and some other parts. But this issue that is happening in Niger right now, specifically at this moment, it's very crucial and very important for the entire continent of Africa, because that is the target. So Niger it's like for them it's like a case study. It's a case study. It's an attack against the entire continent of Africa. Let me remind you, the same thing that happened to Libya, it was also an attack against the entire continent of Africa. That's why the leaders of Africa, when they were leaving, going to Libya to actually solve these issues, NATO, they called them and they demanded them to stop, to return. They told them that we don't want you guys to come here to Libya. These African leaders, they're going to Libya to resolve issues, but they were commanded by NATO to return to their countries and not to go to resolve issues in Libya. So all of them, just like little babies, they had to turn away and to go back to their countries. Why? Because NATO said. So when Gaddafi was killed in Libya, that was win, not over Libya, but over Africa. And today, we all use Libya as a case study, that we let this happen to Libya. We cannot let the same thing happen to Niger. But what we don't realize that what happened to Libya did not just happen to Libya, it happened to Africa. Because Gaddafi, he was not a perfect man, but what he did not only to Libya, but to the African Union, it was something that no other African leader was doing. Donating and supporting financially African Union institution so that it can work for Africans. So basically it was playing a role of what US are doing right now, or what France was doing, or European Union was doing, is doing to African Union or to ECOWAS. That's what Gaddafi was doing. So taking down Gaddafi, it was not just for the sake of Libya. No, it was for the sake of Africa, because Gaddafi was not just a threat because of Libya, but for the entire continent. This guy's vision was to come with an African currency. This guy's vision was to unite the entire continent of Africa. This guy was a Pan-Africanist who wanted to see change in Africa in a way that he wanted to see it happen. So these guys, they see him not as, man, let me tell you this, man. If you focus on your country and your country alone, these guys are not going to bother you. And I don't want to mention some names of the leaders here that we know they're doing that. I don't want to do that, because that's not the case today. They're not going to bother you. They're not going to touch you, because, man, it's your country. It's your country. They're interested with the entire continent of Africa. So if you focus on your country, like if you want to get out of this trouble, just focus on your country. Don't talk about Africanism. Don't talk about unity. Don't talk about awakening. Don't talk about consciousness. Don't talk about nothing about that. Just focus on your country. They're not going to touch you. They knew that this guy, this Gaddafi, he's the threat to the entire, to us. Why? Because there's an awakening happening. Because he's doing things. He's not just talking. This guy, he was not just talking, but he was doing things in actions. Giving money, supporting. This guy was like Libya was not like Africa for things that he was doing. These guys, they had no debt. They have reserve of billions and billions of dollars, reserve money, and they had no debt. But right now, they have a lot of debt. They don't have even a single dollar reserved. They knew that Libya was this guy. They knew that this is going to be the threat for the entire continent. This guy is going to be the threat to the entire continent. So they attack. And I see the same exact thing to Niger. And not, I don't want to talk about Niger coup, but I want to talk about Niger as a country. You guys, you know a lot of details, have been listening a lot of details that are happening in that country. And Niger itself, holding on to Niger, this war that is happening, or this tension that is happening right now to Niger, is not just against Niger, but against the continent of Africa. That's why we're pissed off when we see leaders, some leaders are not talking about it. And let me say this, I'll say this today to be clear, that last time I came here and I gave an update, what African Union, they did. They made a decision. So African Union are basically against ECOWAS. That means they're against ECOWAS intervening the country of Niger and fighting forcefully, like fighting with war and all that. They're against that. And when you're talking about African Union, you're talking about the leaders of Africa. So we have to be clear about that most leaders of Africa, they don't want war to happen in Niger. That's why through the African Union, actually they are against with ECOWAS intervening and fighting. I came here and I shared those updates, I guess, a week ago. This peace something summit, like, you know, they had an intense meeting for like over 10 hours to just talk about the situation, and they came up with a solution that no, we don't want war to happen in Niger. So ECOWAS, they wanted to do that, but African Union said no, we don't want it to happen. We want it to stop. So all this stuff that are happening right now. So with all being said, this is not just a war that is focusing on Niger, but in the entire continent. That's why whenever you turn social media, you turn media, this is the only topic, is the only conversation you hear again and again and again. Today, as I'm saying, the people of Niger, thousands and thousands of people, they came out to celebrate. Actually, let me say this again, to celebrate 1 month of coup leadership in Niger. Guys, this Niger that we see in media, Western media, talking about, oh, this is the crisis, and they say Niger crisis. That's the title that they're talking about, Niger crisis. Why it's crisis? Because militarily, because the coup is taking over the leadership, then it's a crisis. Let me tell you this, guys, taking over the leadership is not crisis. Crisis is France and US and now ECOWAS trying to intervene against this single sovereign state. That is crisis. So when they're talking about Niger crisis, I want you to shift your mindset and not to think about coup taking over leadership. It's a crisis. No, People, they want them. People, they love them. That's why today, they're not forced, but they're outside celebrating 1 month of leadership of the coup. What does this tell you? When you look at these updates, what has and what should tell you is that people are actually happy with the junta, with the coup, with the military taking over the government. They're seeing what is happening in Burkina Faso with the new leader. They're seeing what is happening in Mali, and they want the same thing to happen in. But I was talking about Libya and Gaddafi. Let me give you this update. I don't know if you guys have seen this. We share this news. Guys, let me say this, man. This is the time. And let me just pray a little quick, because I didn't pray when I started this. God, I thank you for today. And as we're having this conversation, I just pray that the wisdom, the peace, and the understanding, God, as we talk about this beautiful country and beautiful continent, what we want is not just to talk, but we want really to have that knowledge so that we may take actions and to bring about a solution to our people. What we desire together collectively with all of our religions, with all of our tribes, all of our backgrounds, in peace for Niger, and ultimately peace for the continent of Africa, and peace for brothers and sisters in the continent, and even outside of the continent as well. So as we navigate this journey, help us to do what is right, and help us to do what is good for our people and for this beautiful land. In your precious name I pray. Amen. All right. So this news, we shared this news actually 1 day ago. France is literally in crisis, and France is falling out. This is something that we did not know. I did not know. I don't know if you guys knew, but this is something that we did not know. And I want to share this a little bit, to read this news a little bit. That the former French president, Nicolas Sarkozy, has been ordered to stand trial for allegedly receiving illegal campaign financing from the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi during his 2007 presidential campaign. The trial is set to take place from January to April 2025. Okay, this case is the largest and most significant in a series of corruption investigation involving Sarkozy, who has allegedly been convicted in 2 other cases. Okay. Anyway, so that's first of all, I want to start with that news right here. France is falling, guys. I have nothing against French people, but France is falling. Its influence in Africa has been falling again and again and again, because a lot of time, man, you know, a lot of time here in the other side of Africa, we don't really speak about France that much. We speak about Americans, you know what I'm saying? But we don't really touch about France. France, these guys are like, okay, their policies and their leadership and what they've been doing in Africa, it's wicked. It has been evil over and over and over again. But look at this, man. I don't know. I'm looking at this, and some part of me is really happy looking at this news, and I'll tell you why. Look at this, man. Muammar Gaddafi was actually supporting the former France president financially for his campaign in 2007. He was actually giving money to this president of France, supporting him in his campaign. And yet, he was killed by them. I don't know, man. For me, this is the moment of being... I'm really proud, first of all, of Africa, that actually he was doing this. So anyway, the case is going on. We're going to see the outcome, what will happen. But just take a break and just think about it. Now, this guy has been accused by receiving this campaign money. And I believe they say illegally, because behind the scene, I mean, because if Muammar Gaddafi, he said yes to them and just give them all the deals they wanted, they wouldn't say it's illegal. They wouldn't say it. But because he stood for his people and he was against any humiliation against his own country and his own people, that's why they say this today. But I want to release that news, to just leave it out there for you guys to see and to just take it in. That this guy, probably he will be prosecuted because of the money that he was receiving from Africa. So do you think Africa is poor? No, Africa is not poor. And Muammar Gaddafi was showing that to us. let me tell you this, man. Africa is not poor. If Africa were, if our people and our leaders, they truly work for our people and for our continent, we will not need even a single dollar from outside as a loan or aid. We will not need it. We will not need it, because this continent is the richest continent you have ever seen, and we know it. And these are just some of news. I share this news that what France are doing in Niger, they're actually taking all the uranium, they process in their country, they sell it across the world, and what they do, the money that they earn from the uranium that they've taken from Niger, they send it back to Niger and to other African countries as a loan and aid. So they give back your own money, and they want you guys to pay them back. Like, I take your money and I give you as a loan, and you need to repay back to me. So I'm using your own money to develop myself, and your own money to get another money from you. This is how messed up Africa we are. This is how the world is messed up. These guys are just businessmen. They just know how to conduct business. That's it. To take every single opportunity of your resources to make sure they gain profit as much as they can, and you left with nothing. That's capitalism. And that's the world we're living. That's the reality. I'm an economist. I know this principle and how they work. And that's what they do. You can't blame them for that, for doing economics. We can't blame them for doing business. That's how they do their business. But we got to blame ourselves for being so dumb and to just let this happen. That's why I'm saying this war is against Africa, because those actions are still happening in Niger. And leave them continue doing the same thing in Niger is actually allowing them to do the same thing in Africa, because they know where exactly to hit. So thank God that this guy is going to be prosecuted anyways. But also, this is just to tell you that we are richer than you think. We are very richer than you think. So guys, let me say this. Please follow the news we share on Official Swahili Nation. We share very breaking news. Our team is doing crazy job to find this news and to share as much as they can. So go and check it out, our official page, Official Swahili Nation. Follow and support, because there's so many updates like we share all the time. You can go and check it out. This is our page. You can see our Official Swahili Nation. Go follow and enjoy, man. All this stuff we share news all the time. Niger order troops to go on maximum alert. All this stuff, it just happened like right now. Like even right now, I see the team, they're working on it to just share. So yeah, go and show some support on our social medias platform as well. All right, so let me continue to share with you guys a couple of the updates that I have here today. So I've already shared with you guys what is happening right now, right? People are celebrating today. They have been celebrating 1 month of coup leadership in Niger. And that is to tell you that people, they want this leadership. They want this. That's the choice of the people. So if you're talking about democracy, this is democracy. Because people, they want them to be there. If today you put them to vote, either the president who has been captured and the military regime, people, they are going to choose military regime. So that is democracy. If you're talking about democracy, you must respect that. That's why it's ridiculous seeing all these different sides still wanting to stop, and that's why our call has been to ECOWAS that you guys know, you gotta be able to read. This is not the time for that. This is the time to stand with Niger. This is the time to support them, actually, because they're breaking out. Okay, another breaking news that you guys is that these guys 1 day ago they gave they told France ambassador, I keep mistaking French and France. All right, France ambassador to leave the country within 48 hours. They say, we don't want you here. We want you to leave as soon as possible within 48 hours. Get out of our country. We don't want you here. So they're doing the same exact thing that Mali was doing, right? And all these Western Africa, is something that we salute them for doing that. But let me tell you what France has replied. I think you guys have seen this as well. So France says Niger junta has no authority to ask ambassador to leave. So military is asking the ambassador to leave. Say, hey, get out of our country. We don't want you here. We're in charge right now. Get out of here. We don't want France. We don't want anything near us. Get out of here. And the French government is saying, no, you don't have authority to kick us out. You are there illegally. Let me tell you this, guys. If you do not understand, hearing this and looking at this, it will make you realize that this is more than just uranium. It is more than just uranium. And France are not alone. NATO, they're together with them. So NATO, that means all the countries in this NATO organization, they're behind this. That means the entire continent of Africa need to be behind Niger. Because if this is going to be a war, which we're not praying for that, that's why we pray every single Friday against this, then this is the biggest war you've ever seen. It's the biggest war you've ever seen. If we tell you, get out of our country, we don't need you here, and then you say you have no authority to kick me out, what does that make you feel? Oh, what does that tell you? It tells you that they believe, France believe that they have authority to stay there. I tell you, get out of here. Get out of my house. I don't need you here. And then I say, you don't have authority to kick me out of your house. Think about it. Why would I have that confidence to say that? Either I helped you build your house, and so I'm entitled to what you have. I'm attached. I think I have share in your house. And this is one of the biggest mistakes Africa we've done. The biggest mistake that will cost generation after generation. Yes, we tell this guy, get out of Africa. But when you look at the system, when you look at everything that is in our country, these guys, they built it. Sankara said, whoever feeds you controls you. If I feed you, I have authority over you. If the forefathers, they made a mistake to sell our countries, they made any kind of agreement in our countries, then we're not going to have a say even after 100 years. Because these guys are entitled to our countries. Entitled to our countries. We see the problem that has been happening in South Africa for years. The division that is in Africa between this group of people, white people and also black people. I'm not against the colors and all those stuff. I'm not against that. But I am against humiliation, exploitation, and unfairness and unjust system that is in our country. And we must admit that most of the problems that are happening today, we are innocent. It's because of what happened in the past. It's because of the leaders that were in the past. It's because of the decisions that were made in the past. We are in the situation we are today. And our children, they're going to be in the worst situation if we don't make a choice to do something today. Then we are to blame what is going to happen in the next generation. You understand that? That's why we work day and night to bring this awareness and try to do something. Because what is going to happen next, we are to blame. But let me tell you this, what is happening today, we're not to blame. Yeah, we are innocent. Africans, you are innocent. What is happening right now, you're innocent. But there are people who made mistakes in the past, and you are reaping the consequences today. Because whatever you sow, you shall harvest. Whatever you plant, that's what you shall get. You cannot plant mango and expect to harvest, watermelon. It ain't happen like that. Whatever was planted before, we're reaping the consequences today. And that's what we say. What we are saying and what we're working on today and the solution of finding today is not for us. We're too late. We're too late. No, it is for the next generation. It's for my babies, for your babies, for your next generation. It's for your kids. And we don't have time. We've got no time for that. Because otherwise they're going to be dealing with the same issues. I'm telling you, get out of my house, and you tell me you don't have authority to kick me out. In what basis? It's because I'm entitled to your country. I have ownership to your country. Why? You know why Africa and our countries are never developing? Because every single leader, when they come into regime, they have first to get rid of the old agreements that previous leaders made in our countries. And so we find ourselves after every 5 years, we do the same thing. Mark time. We do the same thing. We don't really move forward, but we go like this. We try to move forward. We try to move forward because we don't have a collective vision for Africa. We have individualism in our countries. And all of us, we want to build our own legacy. And we're not thinking Africa after 50, 60, 100, 1,000 years later. We don't think about it. We don't think about Africa in the next generation. We don't think about it. So what happened is, if I become a president tomorrow, I'm going to start cleaning the mess that previous president made and start establishing my own vision. Well, I'll be there for 5 years or 10 years and I'll be gone. Somebody else will come and establish their own vision. We don't have collective vision for Africa. African Union Vision 2063, that's why we're saying that we don't need 2063. We need it today. We need it today. Because 2063 is next generation, and they're gonna be fighting the same fight we're doing it today. It's ridiculous that you'll have another Mika 40 years from now saying the same thing today, and they'll be sharing this video that, oh, we have some guy here was talking about the same thing in 2023, and that will be 2063. 40 years from now, they'll be saying the same thing. We don't have collective vision for this continent. That's why I say Africa's unity is the first thing. And how can we come together, especially in the time of crisis like this, realizing that this war is not against Niger, but it's against Africa. It happened in Libya, and we're still not learning our lessons. This is the time not only for African Union to stand and say something. No, it's the time for every single country say something, every single leader say something, that hey, whatever you want to do in Niger, it's against Africa, and we are gonna let you do anything. It's against my country too. Man, how beautiful that will be. Imagine if every single leader just stand up, speak, and say, hey, if you guys want to invade Niger, you must know this, that you're declaring a war not only against Niger but against our countries too, and you're gonna take actions. Man, imagine how beautiful is that. France is doing that to Niger. Is doing that to the continent of 55 countries, and he's not even afraid. Even some European countries are criticizing Macron for damages that he has been doing in Africa. You've seen this prime minister of which country? This country, I forgot the name, trashing Macron for what he's doing in Africa. This guy, man, this country, it has authority in Africa. You have a decency to say that you have no authority to kick us out? For real? You have no authority to say anything? For real? This is how bad it is right now in Africa. And let me say this, man. It's not a time to hide behind the closest door. It's not a time for that. For leaders, yes, African Union released something, but it's not a time to rely on that. It's not a time for that. It's time for everybody to show unity collectively. You're afraid that we're not going to receive aids and loan from our own money? Why can't we take this risk and stand with our people? And it's a worthy risk because you're saving our people's lives. That's what we do. The whole people, for all Africans, are standing with Niger today. What is it left for you guys? Then you must understand that some of these guys are not really there for us, because people are speaking, people are talking, but they're quiet because of diplomacy. Man, you're not the only one that went to school for diplomacy. In fact, a lot of great leaders are not in the government today. A lot of them, they do what I do. A lot of them are watching here today. Shout out to everybody joining here, by the way. Okay, guys. So I wanted to lay down that foundation, and now I want to welcome you guys to join me in. We're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube. I want to share the link here on YouTube to welcome you guys. I will have one guest after another, and I want you to just come to share your thoughts, to share your solutions, because that is what we are finding here. I lay down the foundation that this is a war against Africa. It's not a war against Niger. It's not a war against West Africa. It's not a war against whatever. It's a war against Africa. The earlier we realize that, the sooner we realize that, the sooner we're going to win this. We lost to Libya. We are going to lose this if we don't realize that. I'm telling you guys, it's the same thing France, they were there, they're here. Americans, they were there, they're here. NATO were there, they're here. The same pattern. And they're turning our leaders against each other. That's why ECOWAS went against AU. But AU is supposed to be the father. ECOWAS is down there. ECOWAS, the EAC, SADC, they're down here, but AU is here. If your leader is against whatever that you want to do, what kind of power do you have to say that we're going to do it? And now you have friends who are here illegally saying that you don't have authority to kick us out and we are quiet. Man, these guys are looking down on us. Too much. Too much. Too much. This has to stop. Anyways, let me share this link and welcome you guys. I'm not gonna be here for a long time because I don't want to be vain conversation. I'm gonna drop the link in the comment section. I want you guys to comment, to share. To keep your time to share, I'll invite one after another one. The first person to come here, I'll invite you in, and you guys, I'll leave in the dashboard, and I'll have everybody come and share. You know, very precise and very clear for our people to understand. All right. Appreciate. See the messages. I see everybody who is joining. Guys, let me just remind you, there's a link in the comment section called Sign the Petition. Even here on the screen is One Africa right now. Sign the petition. Please sign that petition. Read